Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Raid Shadow Legends. And in today's video, I want to talk about something that I have had huge problems with that I've only recently started fixing. And that is my absolute issue with hoarding. Now, it's my issue because I'm one of these players who, always think that I'm going to need something for a rainy day, whether that's a champion, whether that's a piece of gear. I'm really bad at this in even a lot of other games where I just keep things around thinking I'm going to need it. Now, usually in Raid Shadow Legends, like hoarding is a good thing, right? Especially when it comes to shards and resources and other things like that. Silver as well for gear enhancements and things like that. But I want to show you what things used to look like for me and what you can do to alleviate this because you don't actually need to hoard as much as people say you need to. Otherwise, if you're like me as well that fall into this trap, this video might be for you. And if you find anything in this video helpful, please consider clicking that subscribe button and ringing the notification bell. You'll be greatly helping the channel. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, then maybe you should, because now throughout the month of March, you are going to be able to get yourself a free Legendary Supreme Gallic, a great Void Champion to start off your game if you download using the QR code on the screen or in the link in the description down below and use the promo code Supreme6. I'm going to have that on the screen here. And I also want to mention that, of course, through using the link and the QR, you are going to get yourself some freebies, including an Epic Champion Czar Gala, which is really great. And that's not all, because you will also get yourself a Epic Ugo at account level 15. And that's not all. Still, we have the Alice the Wanderer event that's still going right now for a limited time, which I believe might still be running until the beginning of April. So make sure that you start your game now and get 2 legendary free champions and 2 epic champions to start your game off. And before we go any further in the video, I do want to mention the Forge Pass. Now, I know this is not going to help my hoarding, especially when it comes to making more gear and having more gear lying around. But, as far as light spending goes, this is probably the best bang for your buck. Now, I should have probably picked this up earlier on when it started. We're going into week 2 soon here for Forge Pass, or depending on when you watch this video. But these literally are the best things that you can get for, 20 US dollars. My box is in the way a little bit, but it's 27.99 Canadian or 20 US dollars. And this is for 4 weeks. It also, like, as you're grinding, for food and stuff like that, you're going to get increased silver and XP bonuses, which are really, really good. And by the end of it, I've done a video on it on the Bolster Forge Pass, which was last season. And you get about, I think, 300 worth of 5 to 6 star crafting pieces, which is quite significant. And for all players who have access to the Forge Pass, this is going to be amazing. So I'm going to pick this up here. And I do recommend that for people who are okay with some light spending to pick this up, because it's going to make a big difference in your game. However, of course, why is there not a claim all button? That's my only complaint about that one there. I always wait till the very end to craft up the legendary items because I want to see a big bulk purchase. And also for things like clan versus clan, this is a pretty big deal there. You know what? I'll claim the rest of it later. Let's get to the rest of the video. So I want to talk about hoarding, but I also want to talk about where things were a big problem. Now, unfortunately, I fixed this problem a little bit before recording this video, but I am a serial hoarder for characters, and I'm a serial hoarder for gear. Those are 2 things that I want to talk about specifically when it comes to my reserve vault. I'm not even joking, was full at like 270. I was getting to the point where I was spending silver to expand my reserve vault. I'm not doing that anymore now, but I think I pushed it up. Where does it start? At 200 or something? Like I pushed it up to 280. I was thinking of doing it more because I had so many rares. This looks really clean compared to what it looked like if you took a look at my account from like a week ago. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because once you get past, in my opinion, the first couple of weeks, rares are going to be food. Almost 95% of your rare pulls are going to be food. Now, what I did, and this looks really clean now, but it didn't like a week ago. And that's because I had my faction guardians filled up to the brim on every single faction with rares. Now, I do want to say that there are a couple of factions worth doing this for. Namely, I do want to kind of point out Hiles, because Hiles has Apothecary. There's a handful of like niche. Apothecary is really good, but there's also a few other niche rares that you might end up using. But really, it comes down to a couple of factions, in my opinion. So high elf, I would keep that. If you have a bunch of heiresses or other random pulls, fill that up, because I think apothecary is still a very good rare and served me very, very well for the first month and a half. I've since pulled someone a little bit better as far as speed goes, but still I'm using them in places like Cursed City, Doom Tower, where I need rares, things like that. The other place is Ogren Tribes, because you have if you're lucky to pull a Bellower, because I recently actually took my Bellower to level 60 because I had to fulfill a Void Champion Arbiter mission, but I actually do get quite a bit of value out of my Bellower. He's pretty good, and he is one of the best rares from the Ogren tribe. So I do want to buff him up a little bit with the Faction Guardians, right? Because you are going to get some bonuses there, particularly in the stats. Not the speed's not a huge deal, but every little bit counts. And then the other one that I want to point out is Dark Elves, because Dark Elves do, and I need to fix this. I accidentally used feud on my last dupe here because I'm using a lot of Kale. Also, if you have Cold Heart, they're Dark Elf as well. Paragon, who has some niche use later on as far as an unkillable thing, unkillable strategy. So there are a handful of Dark Elves, rare Dark Elves, that you're going to get some value, but especially a lot of people are running Kale early on. And so this is going to be quite significant there. And I think the other ones are a little bit niche. You can have maybe Undead Horde, which would be for Frozen Banshee. So Frozen Banshee is a poison-based character if you are using her. But aside from that, there just isn't a lot of rare characters that you're going to be using on a regular basis, in my opinion. So don't do what I did. I literally just finished cleaning up my Faction Guardians. I got rid of all of the rares, bar a couple of factions, because I ended up just using them for food at 3-star and above. And it saved me a little bit of energy that I didn't have to build my green 2-stars up to 3-star. And, I don't know how much that saves you, maybe like 70, 80 energy, something like that, when you're running brutal 12-3. But either way, it still saved me in the long term, especially in the last few weeks when I was doing the Fabian champion training events, those kinds of things too. So don't be like me and have 10 out of 10 on every single. That's a lot of characters. That's like 40, 80, 120, 150. So now I have Dark Elf, I have Ogren Tribes, and I have High Elves. Those are the only ones that I'm personally keeping, because I don't use any other rares. If you take a look at my roster as far as what I'm using, and I'm about 2.5 months in at this point, I have Kale, I have Apothecary, I have Bellower, and that's it. I don't have Cold Heart. Sad, I haven't pulled a Cold Heart yet. Unfortunately, I actually pulled a bunch of Void Shards on one of my previous videos. I do have Paragon level 40, but I'm not really using them that much right now. And I'm just frankly not using most of these characters. Regular Gallic I stopped using quite some time ago, and so it doesn't really matter all that much. And so that is a big thing that I want to point out about just not not hoarding 160 characters and rares that you don't need to have. So I just wanted to share that with you. But make sure that you are saving the rares that are used in fusions, because there are a handful of them. I tend to put them in the master vault so I don't accidentally consume them. I kind of separate the characters that I'm currently using / fusion rares. I do stick them in the master vault so I don't accidentally feed them into someone else. The other thing the second part of the video that I want to talk about is gear. Now, this is looking a lot better. I literally just cleaned this up a little bit yesterday. I was at 1600. Out of 1600, it was getting really, really bad. And the reason why is, for me, in my game's progression, I'm at the point where if it's not a 5-star gear piece, I'm not going to use it. Like it's just not good enough for me. But I recently cleaned up my 4-star gear, so you really need to kind of like cut things off. Like, realistically, you're not going to use a lot of pieces. And the way that I decided how to do that is, okay, I'm first of all, unless it's level 12 plus and has good subsets, I'm gonna get rid of it. Like, a lot of things I probably should have still got rid of. I'm surprised I even have this much 4-star gear still here that I'm probably realistically not going to use. So you should make a cutoff point for yourself to prevent this over hoarding of gear, which can accumulate very fast. Also, if you are farming campaign 12.3, make sure you're selling off that curing gear that you're going to be accumulating quite rapidly. But now I'm at the point where I need to clean up my 5-star gear. And I have a lot of 5-star gear. So how am I going to clean this up? How am I going to basically separate what I might use and what I don't? And I think again that comes down to you deciding what that is for you. Now, it's not easy. For me, honestly, I think I need to take every single 5-star blue, and delete it and sell it. Because while I think that I might use it, I'm probably not. Like this is a lot of gear pieces realistically. I'm at the point where like it also has to have a speed substat. You typically when you're gearing, I don't know why I have Gallic there. Let's just use Ugo for a point of reference. But typically, like if you don't have 200 plus speed, that's kind of like the goal for mid game. I think is to make sure you have around 200 speed or higher. Just because this is very important to have speed. So if the gear that you're looking at doesn't have a speed substat, I would sell it. Like honestly, I would sell it because unless it's really, really, really good, I would sell it. Almost all of my reasonable gear pieces have speed on it. You know, that's just it's just an important. It's a speed game. Like I'm pretty sure I'm well because it's a speed main stat. But other than that, every single one of my other pieces of gear have speed as a secondary substat. So if you're looking at a way to cleanse your gear and you don't know what to do and how to do that properly, honestly, I would just go. I would sort by 5-star, and if it doesn't have speed on it, I would get rid of it. You know, and I should move my square somewhere else, but let's just remove the cam. Let's remove me for the moment. So if the gear doesn't have speed on it, I would sell it. So this, sell it. Shield, probably sell it. Sell it. And so this is where I get a bit fussy because I'm like, am I going to use it? But I'm probably not, right? And if it's blue and it definitely doesn't have speed, sell it. And maybe even if it does have speed, I would sell it because realistically, I'm kind of at the point where I need gear to be purple or legendary at the very least. I think blue is just not enough. So this is a personal bar, like as you make progression in your own account, that you're gonna have to decide what's keepable, what's not. But it's gonna really impact you, and also the fact that you're keeping yourself from having more silver, right? So I think the easiest thing to do is just to go from the top of the list. Does it have speed? Nope, sell it. Even if it does have speed, if it's a shit set, I would still sell it. So I'm not going to use life set. There's no way I'm using life set gear anymore. Like this is very early game kind of stuff. So unless it's like a 6-star legendary speed boots, I'm probably not going to use it. If it's flat, also if the stats are flat, sell it. Defense, attack, HP flat, sell it. Unless it's super super good and it's 6-star legendary, and you might use it on lower tier faction wars champions, but aside from that, I would sell it. This one does have speed, but offense is such a bad set. Like I can't remember the last time I've realistically used like the flat sets for like HP attack because there's just like as you go through the game, you're just gonna get better stuff. So honestly, I don't think I'm ever gonna use this stuff. So I would just sell it. I do have this 5-star speed boost though. I am gonna keep this because speed boots are very important. You want to make sure that you have speed boots on every single character. It's very, very very important. So I'm just going to go through here and sell all of this stuff because I'm going to, need to clean up. I need more silver, first of all, to save for the next events and things like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of this, my entire inventory, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to let you know how much silver that's going to net me. And don't forget throughout the month of March that there is going to be a free promo code, which I'll have here across the screen, Supreme6, which will get you a free legendary Supreme Gallic, really great Void champion that'll really help you start off your game. Also, there is going to be, of course, some more freebies and a free Epic Zargala, who you can get by using the QR code in the top right hand of the screen, as well as, of course, Alice, who we've been talking about a lot lately, and Ugo, who you will get an account level 15. So that's 4 champions that you're going to get for your start in Raid Shadow Legends. An absolute amazing time to play. Okay, I meticulously went through every piece of 5-star gear. Actually, I was afraid that my game was going to crash, and after selecting all this stuff that I'd have to do it all over again. I managed to find 505 artifacts that I could sell, meeting my previous criteria, which was really hard. I was having like borderline panic attacks about, whether or not I was going to need this stuff. And I'm going to sell this here, 17 million silver of 500 gear pieces that I know realistically I'm probably not going to use. This took me a while, like 20 minutes for me to go through piece by piece. And especially if it didn't have a speed substat. There they go. If they didn't have a speed substat, I'm probably not going to use them. you know, realistically. And now I haven't even touched my 6-star. I do have a fair bit of 6-star gear, but not as much as what I did at 5. So this went a long way at cleaning up how much gear I had. What am I sitting at now? I think I'm at 573 out of 1600. So that made a pretty big dent in my purging for gear, in my hoarding mentality. Because realistically, at the end of the day, yes, I know there's a lot of champions in Raid Shadow Legends that people may be holding on to gear more than they actually need to do. So the point of this video was basically for you to reevaluate how much stuff that you had and how much stuff that you needed, whether it's gear, whether it's champions. You know, of course, for other things, I would hoard shards. I would hold on to those, right? You know, you're gonna need them for future events, that kind of thing. But now I have 36 million silver, so that's pretty significant, and silver that maybe I didn't even know I had, because I had all this gear lying around. Insert meme of like my storage room. I had to go through it. I had to clean it out. This is something that you probably need to do at least every couple of weeks, you know, at least every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how much you're gear farming. So I hope that some of this was helpful for you, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.